Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Season 4, Episode 13. We're ready to dissect the first game of the season, and we're already on Episode 13. Wow, how was that? Okay. All righty. Okay, guys, let's take care of business first. Okay, as always, please smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, add some comments, and please share it with your friends. Hawkeye 17, welcome. Perfect timing. Just got off work, and now I'm watering the plants while I listen to you guys. Thank you. I hope those plants survive.
Hopefully we won't bore them to death.
There we go. So we're not, Paul, we decided we're going to wait till the next show to do our pick since Miami Notre Dame has not completed yet. Okay. So I'm a little disappointed to find out that Caitlin's still not playing tonight. Do you guys think that, in all honesty, that Caitlin's coming back this season?
Maybe for the playoffs. Why not?
After tonight, they've got 4 games. They got 4 season games left. I actually thought they had less than that, but I went back and I looked at their schedule. And
I would have no clue because only the doctors and Caitlin, I would think, would know. I think it's interesting. She's got this. She started out with the same injury Cade McNamara did. You know, Cade tried playing football with it. How the hell do you play football with it if you can't play basketball hardly? You know, but.
Well, you know, and his credit though, he let it heal up before the first game. So, you know, as we know, he babied it and hurt the other leg.
Well, you could watch him run in them 4 games before his knee blew out, and you could tell he wasn't healthy. I mean, he just didn't run the same, you know. But
well, let's talk about mental and injuries. Okay, let's talk about our quarterback yesterday, who by all accounts in the first half just looked awful. Was throwing some bad passes, missing receivers by a mile. I don't know, and other things that I don't know. I mean, he did run well. That's something that we have missed for a long time. Is a running quarterback who can get us out of a jam. Although most of his runs were design runs. He almost has had many yards running as he did passing. Yeah. I think he had 48 yards passing yesterday. However, I do want to give him credit because in the second half, he went 6 for 7, and I don't know how many yards in the second half. So he did bounce back. But by that time, in the first half, after we got down 7-3 and we just ran the ball down their throat, I believe, in one pass in that stretch. We ran the ball down their throat and scored a touchdown to take the lead again. And by that time, you just knew in your heart that the passing game was done for the day, that the passing game would only be there sporadically. It wasn't going to be part of the offense because you could just tell that they decided to take the passing game out of the equation, which they did. And so,
thank God.
Right.
The whole point is to win the football game. So
yeah. And I mean, I think we proved that the running game was very well. It's still a very good thing, but I do want to see a passing attack of some sort. The question is, with him going 6 for 7 in the second half, if he hadn't got cramped up, do we think we would have saw more passing, or do you guys feel like that it was still a running game after that?
Kirk just wants to win. So, I mean, if he didn't, you know, go to our offensive coordinator and just say, run the ball, then, I mean, I wouldn't have been throwing the ball.
You know, we forgot about the running game in the first quarter. That was ridiculous. But obviously, Kirk says and Gronowski says that he was just so jacked up for the game and so nervous he forgot all about his footwork. And I commented, I was with Dean live a little bit, and then I can't be live and watch a game and keep track of everybody on the field and everything. So I just quit being on there. I just said, God, his footwork is screwed up, so
Yeah.
hopefully he'll settle down. So.
Okay. Buck Wild says what's crazy is Carson Beck started 3 for 3 for 27 yards, completed a 15-yard pass. He didn't need a whole game to shake off the rust.
Great.
Carson Beck had surgery just like Kirk's boy did. Kirk loves to make us one-dimensional. He's getting his wish again this year.
Kirk loves to win. I mean, sorry, dude. I get it. Maybe you got some Ferentz fatigue. I like winning. We just,
Mhm.
We've done it 205 times under Kirk. It's pretty good. It's pretty damn good.
Well, I get tired of people saying we run a Kirk offense. Kirk coaches the offensive line on a daily basis. Seems like we have a pretty good offensive line. We have offensive coordinators who call all the plays, except Kirk might say once in a while, hey, we're averaging 7-8 yards a carry. Maybe you ought to run a little more, give him a little hint. And then thank God he was coaching yesterday when he decides when to go on fourth down. He didn't call the play, touchdown pass to Weechin. So,
Yeah. But
that wasn't real conservative. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things we learned about this game is what the play-by-play guy said earlier last week before the game is that they expected their defense to be their backbone of their team, and honestly, for about 3 quarters, their defense pretty well worked.
Well, the best unit on the team yesterday was the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we lived on the offensive line yesterday, but.
Okay, so everyone is different. You compare one's emotions with Carson Beck and Gronk is just hilarious. Okay. Why did Lester have to ask Kirk to throw a deep ball last year? He got voted down, by the way. Okay. I'll just keep reading them. We're not going to agree with all these guys.
That's brought up every week, Dean. It was actually in a game where Kirk said, hey, lean on the run a little bit. And then we scored like 28 points in the second half and buried Minnesota. So.
Yeah.
Terrible coaching by Kirk.
Yeah. I hate it when we win all these damn games.
No. What did we score? 38 points or something? I mean, complain.
Well, I think the funniest thing I've seen so far is we win 34-7, and most people would have been happy with that, but most people like me were expecting a bigger blowout. But however, where was I going with that? I'm always losing my train of thought.
Well,
okay. Anyway, but I watched a couple of the call-in shows afterwards, the instant reaction shows, and no, I did not watch Corey's, but I watched a couple of others, and to say the least, that you would think that we lost that game 34-7 by the fans' reactions.
Yeah, that's fans.
It's as if people haven't ever watched an Iowa football game before. I mean, that went the way that went the way we talked about it would go.
Yeah, if you want a fans' reaction show, join the multitudes of fan reaction shows, I guess.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. The passing game did not look good.
We all agree on that.
We did have guys running open. I'm willing to give Gronowski a little grace and say that, you know what? I mean, especially what makes it bad is Iowa State putting up 55 and now everybody's kind of freaking out. Like, keep in mind, Iowa State had a game last week
A
and they
bad
looked like
game.
crap for a half too.
And Kansas State ain't too good. They about got beat by North Dakota. This isn't North Dakota State that Kansas State was playing. And Iowa State was not playing South Dakota State. They were taking the states off their names, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so they were,
and Beck didn't get as high a percentage passing in the first game as Gronowski did. He was 14 out of 28. Looked pretty bad, but it was in the rain. You know, I don't argue that we have a better quarterback than Iowa State or nothing, but you just gotta, the first game of the season's the worst game of the season usually for your play, even though we only had 2 penalties the whole game, you know, and
so, yeah.
it wasn't that we played that bad. The quarterback just did not play good.
No, they did not. Okay.
Mhm.
Marty says Iowa played to the competition. They knew they could run all day and are slow playing Iowa State. Hawkeyes
Fair.
2017 says we shall see the Iowa State game. Should be as long as he stays calm. They will work on it. They addressed it. They addressed it post game. They know. I'm glad they will talk about it. Should be fine. Okay. All right. So I just want to talk a little bit about the first half's defense because I was worried about that secondary, how they would show up. And honestly, I thought this game would not be the telling story. But the fact that a FCS team came in here and picked them apart in the first half. And I'm looking at our tackle totals, okay?
Mhm.
Their top 4 tacklers, each one had more tackles than any single guy on our team did. If you can get that, okay?
That's because we ran way more plays than they did.
Thank you.
We ran like 70 some plays.
Okay.
And 58 of them were running plays. They should have had a lot. Their linebackers should have had a lot of tackles.
Yeah. So Hall and Lutmer were our top 2 tacklers at 5 each. Scherer had 4 and Harold had 4. Rex Roth 3. Wampa had 3. Nobody else had more than 1 or 2. Deshaun Lee had none.
Deshaun Lee was our highest rated secondary player. That's what I thought. I thought watching him, he got way the best game, and then the PFF scores came out, and he was like 20 points ahead of everybody else. Safeties were very blah. Lutmer was bad. He's the one that gave up the touchdown. But everybody, if you're a Lutmer fan before the season starts, you probably think he had a good game. But I thought the safeties were blah. Defensive line was great. Obviously, I don't know if I'm talking too much, but obviously Albany's game plan was Iowa's defensive line is good. Our offensive line is probably our weakness. Hey, quarterback, run the ball when you can, and when you go back to pass, take 2 steps back and get rid of the ball. And that's what he did. So cut down on our sacks. But
I thought we made some, Phil Parker, great second half adjustments. It also helps, when you're playing with a lead and you can run the football, it kind of made them a little one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I skipped over one of the comments from Hackwell. Jason, he verified what you guys said was because the defense was on the field more. Okay. They only gave up 130 yards passing. We're going to go over that some seam stats real quick.
And by the way, this is just my opinion, but this close. Iowa was this close to really blowing that thing wide open. You have the missed touchdown pass on the first drive. Iowa settles for 3 there. They were just absolutely scared to death to kick it to Wetchen, right?
Yeah,
So,
they wouldn't kick it to him at all. I think he got it once.
I mean, the defense, while they did play good and the score represents that, I mean, unable to really get us a short field. There was a couple of crazy punts. One where, we got a finger on it. If we'd have got a second finger on it, who knows? But, we were never able to give the offense a short field. We were really never able to back them up and, force a 3-and-out or a turnover and get the ball at, midfield or better. So that's part of it.
We had one short field during the game I can remember, and Hank Brown fumbled.
Right.
Is that our only turnover of the game? I think.
That would have. If he had.
Hank Brown is not a very good runner.
Okay.
Well, he ran pretty bad. But anyways, you mentioned the word blowout. You thought it'd be a blowout. It was a blowout.
Right. Well, I meant I said we were this close to blowing it open from,
All right, guys. I'm gonna read these stats real quick so everybody kind of gets a feel for it. Total yards 358 yards compared to their 177. They had 134 passing yards, as Jason pointed out earlier. 48 passing yards for us. 310 rushing yards compared to 43 for them. Guys, do you remember, did we have at any point last year 310 yards in one game of rushing?
I don't know. We averaged 200, so I would think we got 300 a couple times. I'm not sure.
Yards per play, 5. What's that?
Nothing is jumping out at me like, oh, yeah, don't you remember when we ran for 400 against Maryland or something? But
yeah. Okay, so yards per play, 5.2. I will take that every time. That's moving the sticks. Yep. They had 3.8 per play, but that also, I mean, that will move the sticks too if you got that kind of yardage every play. We had 20 first downs compared to their 9.
They only had one big play, 27 yards.
Yeah.
I think Jason's saying something about we ran that much against Wisconsin. I think that's what he's trying to tell us. Okay.
Don't forget too, little hidden yardage type thing. Didn't they have like a 70-yard punt or something crazy because it took a crazy roll?
Oh yeah.
They might have even had a couple of those that the punts weren't that good, but
the only short field we have, I think, was on Phillips. Wetchen was having cramps in his legs, so Phillips went in there and he returned that punt like 48 yards up to midfield. And of course,
that's the one Brown fumbled. Yeah. We could have actually tacked on another 7 points there, and that would have looked a whole lot better.
Yeah. And keep in mind, at that point, it was Brown at quarterback. I think Myslinski was playing center. Like, we had
we had our backups in. Backups were in.
I think Cale Winter was the center when we fumbled. Whether it was on Winter or Brown, you can't. I couldn't tell. But
yeah. Okay. Third down efficiency, guys. A couple of years ago, this was an awful stat when we had Hill as our quarterback. 10 for 16. I'll take that every time. They were 2 for 11. They were 1 for 1 on fourth down. We were 2 for 2. Total plays, they ran 47 to our 69. They punted 8 times. We punted twice. And I want to point out that Reese Dakin punted for an average of 50 yards on those 2 punts. I will take that all the time. I predicted that my bold pick that he would be 50 plus this year. If he can keep that
Mhm.
up, he's got. And only punting twice, that's cool because that means he had fresh legs. And if he can do that all year, I mean, I want him to punt more. Well, I don't know if I want him to punt more than twice, but if when he does, that means we didn't do much with the ball. But I want him to average 50 yards, and I'm sure that against Iowa State, which we'll talk about on our next show, I'm sure that he'll be punting a little more than twice. It would be great if we didn't.
He'll get to punt against Penn State quite a bit. So
Yeah.
I
All
will say
right.
this.
Penalties. They had 3 for 15 yards. We had 2 for 20. So ours must have been major ones. We lost a fumble. They didn't lose any. Nobody threw an interception, which, looking at
There,
that.
uh, uh,
Yes, I'm listening.
no, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. 95.
Graves or defensive
Graves.
tackle? Yeah.
Graves, yeah. It looked to me like that they could have looked at that. It almost looked to me like he thought he had a fumble towards
Yeah, that
the
was
end.
I think that was a fumble recovery, and I think the refs just didn't want a bigger blowout.
Do you think that? 'Cause I don't. If I remember right, the refs didn't even look.
Yeah, but they didn't even try running up the middle against our defensive tackle. It was like send the running back out into the only time they ran up the middle was if they sent the running back out into the flat, so our middle linebacker had to go cover him, and then the quarterback do a draw.
Right.
Quarterback draw. That was about it. But
And at that
Okay.
point, it was like 5-on-4, 5 blockers on 4 D
right.
linemen.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and we got to realize we didn't have any scouting report on Albany. I know they kept most of their coaching staff, but still, it's a new coach. He isn't going to run the same. He's going to have a different philosophy than the old coach from Penn State. So,
Well, 2 things on that one. Kirk said that they expected them to run the same schemes, and as did Roger Weiland, the play-by-play guy, said that he expected them to run the same schemes.
I know, but did they?
I have no idea. I have never watched
I
them play
don't either.
before.
That was my point. We didn't have
Yeah.
a scouting report really on them. So I
Yeah.
noticed that a few times they changed their defense quite a bit, and a few times they were in the what does Iowa State call that? The 3-3-5.
mhm.
Yeah, it's some kind of a weird defense.
Well, you have three safeties over top, so there wasn't anything open deep.
Yeah.
I like that defense myself.
When Coach Hackwell's on with us, we like to talk about the odd front. The odd man front, the 3-man fronts. And I mean, there was a couple of times where the TV guys were like, they're just begging Iowa to run the football with their 3-man front.
Mhm.
That's what we do. We run the
We ran it.
49er offense, and boy, it was ridiculous watching that game yesterday with our tight ends. Our tight ends were great yesterday. No drop passes. I counted 7 pancakes, and I bet I missed. That's just by the tight ends. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did you think it was funny that
Ostrengo was just like pancake. Hayden Large that must be his favorite food. Every morning he must have pancakes. And then the offensive line was like the 2 left tackles played so good. Dossler come in and it was pancake. Our left tackles played better than our left tackle did last year. Stevens, I seen 3 pancakes by him. And then Dunker, you talk about ridiculous. He lost 20 some pounds or 30 pounds, and he's like really athletic and his technique's better. Our worst PFF score on the offensive line was the number 2 center in the nation, and he was in the 80s.
Mhm.
It was just a blip. It was a great day in the offensive line and tight end.
Dunker cost us. He cost us
5 yards.
First of all, he cost KJ Parker his first career
Mhm.
catch, and I think it was a 9-yard gain.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
and
because he
don't
was
forget about
pancaking
Vaname.
his guy 10 yards down the field.
Hmm
Yeah.
we had 4 tight ends in there playing.
He obviously missed the play call, whether they changed the play at the line of scrimmage, because he just went downfield. I think we'll keep Dunker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So
yeah, that's fine. It's fine. All 3 of the 4 tight ends that played all caught a pass. But I found it funny that Hayden Large was the first tight end to catch a pass. He was number 3 on the list. Yeah.
I
And
think
Vaname didn't. Vaname, I think that's how you say his name, right? How do you say that? Vaname.
it doesn't matter.
I should look it up. But
Number
anyway,
81.
he's number. But he played. We played our top 4 tight ends. Which
Top
have we done that much?
top
Have we?
top five. The top 5 played. Bert played too.
Did he? Okay, he's
I
not
think
listed here on
I
the
thought
chart.
the first pass catch was that quarterback rollout to Stringa, but
I think
I
so.
can't remember.
You might be right. You might be right.
It don't matter. Stringa is going to play for a long time in the NFL. So.
Mhm. Washington had everybody had 1 catch, and Seth Anderson had 2 for 9 yards. Jacob Gill was targeted twice. Anderson targeted twice. So
I thought I will say this because I know that we want to talk about Gronowski not throwing the ball particularly well, or especially early. We didn't really call plays that would get him into a good rhythm. I mean, even the passing plays that he did complete, they were rollouts and single option throws. Okay, well, you know what I mean. Like it just, I would have liked to have seen some screens or a wide receiver screen, some things that pitch and catch type stuff, slants. Timing plays.
Mm-hmm. You know what I want to see? I want to see Xavier Williams carry the ball 40 times next week. That's what I want to see. And
man, he was a great running back.
To
yesterday.
me, TJ Washington would be the 4th string running back. Jazzy Patterson come in there and just look like a terror. And
Like
I think McNeil's the 3rd best one. Maybe Xavier Williams doesn't block good enough or something. I'm not at practice and all that stuff, but he just looks like a beast. I mean,
yeah.
Good. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna you guys can keep talking if you want. Got some stuff.
I want to point out the other beast in the game was my boy from Monticello, Iowa. I used to work up there, Preston Reese. He had a highlight film that I posted on Facebook on special teams. He almost blocked 3 punts, and then every kickoff he was down there killing somebody.
I think my mom graduated from Monticello High School.
Your mom?
Mm-hmm.
What was her last name?
Truax.
Truax. I didn't know any Truaxes up there, but boy, Preston is just a beast. He's like, I'm not over. I hear all about him in practice. He's the guy that Kirk doesn't want. He keeps telling him don't tackle anybody like Bobby Sanders because he's crazy. He's like Matt Roth, Bobby Sanders. Who would be another one? Oh, Van Ness. These manimal type people. Protect the young.
Yeah, overall, I mean, yeah, they completed some passes and they had one nice drive. But outside of that, even the backups, because they were still have their ones out there at the end of the game. The Albany did, and we had Jaden Montgomery and a bunch of 2s and 3s out there.
Yeah, Jaden Montgomery laid a guy out too.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. So Richard Godfrey was in for one play, number 7 at backup cornerback, right at the end of the game, and he just tombstoned the guy.
Is he related to Charles Godfrey?
I don't think so. He's from Florida, but yeah,
Hey, guys.
People ask that when he was being recruited.
Okay, guys. Before I forget, it's Von Nami.
Okay.
Yeah. It's cool.
Mhm.
I know one thing. He was the worst blocker in the history of mankind in high school, and he's went to Kirk Ferentz College, and he blocked pretty damn good. He still ain't as good as the other guys blocking, but his dad and mom sure proud of him. I'll tell you that.
He went from Von Hami to Van Dam.
He was just a big wide receiver. He was just a big wide receiver in high school. So,
all right,
anyway.
guys, we're gonna run our commercial break real quick. If you guys got to pee or something, now would be the time. Okay, that didn't quite go the way I wanted it to, but hey, I just wanted to point out that we are part of the Villains Network, media network, and all those logos you saw are all the podcasts you could possibly listen to on this network. You know, I think we're a bigger network show-wise than Everywhere Iowa everywhere. I think we have more shows on here anyway.
Okay.
But
you know, one thing I'd like to talk to Coach Hackwell about this, because I was a little surprised that Albany didn't really sell out to stop the run the way, you know, it felt like they usually had at least 1 or 2 deep safeties. They
Paul fell. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Earthquake.
Yeah.
They were probably afraid of big plays.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if Iowa's formations in some ways kind of dictated that, you know, because under the old offensive coordinator, whose name will not be mentioned, it seemed like teams were putting 9, 10 guys in the box.
Okay.
And I didn't really recall seeing that out of Albany.
Yeah.
Might see it this week.
Now, did you guys think it was funny? There for a long time, we weren't spying on the quarterback. He just pretty much had his way every time, you know, and he was fooling our guys. I mean, even the cameramans were fooled because we'd be following guys tackling, and the guy would go, "Ha ha, no ball," and he's halfway down the field with it.
Hey, you got to give them some credit there because their fakes were quality.
They were. I mean, when you can fake out the fans watching TV and the cameraman, which I was consistently being faked. Okay, Hackwell answered your question. He said, yes, they played off, which is why Gronk couldn't throw down the field. Yeah.
But it was also why we were able to kind of run the ball at will.
Yeah. But don't you guys think, let's just put it this way. Gronk played against this team 2 years ago, national title team. I'm sure that there's some of the same players on this team, although I know that they got a lot of transfers in, and they're probably against the same scheme. And he throttled them the last time they played. I think he had over 400 yards of total offense.
Probably might have not been the first game of the season.
Yeah.
No, it was Albany's last game of the season.
I know
After
that.
game.
That was my point. A lot of difference between the first game of the season
Mm-hmm.
and any other game. Ask Mr. Brecht at Iowa State.
Yeah. Now, I've got another question for you. Was 2023 the same year that we played Gronowski's team?
No,
What year did we
that
play?
that was Jack Campbell's senior year. Was that 2022?
Could have been
Yeah,
2022.
2022. Because we had Jack Campbell got a safety in that game, and Jay Higgins played linebacker in 23 and 24. So,
Okay.
let's see.
Not to mention, I mean, and Coach could speak to this, but they're going to be maybe the only team on our schedule that had seen Gronowski in person. Like they knew more about his abilities, what he's actually really good at, trying to take away certain things. So maybe there's some of that involved.
Boy, when we got Xavier Williams and Gronowski in the backfield together, those are the four greatest legs ever assembled at the University of Iowa. Because Xavier Williams has Robert Newhouse legs, and Gronowski, he has Sean Green type legs, and he's a quarterback. So
yeah,
that's one positive. But
I think a lot of people were talking about that yesterday.
Let's see if Iowa State can get used to an Iowa quarterback that runs like a fullback.
Jason Hackwell, I believe, was the first person I heard mention it yesterday in my live feed in my lives, and then which for personal reasons I quit. I turned it off at halftime and stopped posting anywhere on the internet. Shut the phone down and did not do anything on the internet the rest of the game. But that it is what it is. I just chose not. I chose radio silence. I do that a lot in the second half. Okay.
People always say that I'm too positive about coaches. I did comment today on the On3 thread, and I told Dean too that, if Gronowski and the quarterback situation doesn't turn around, you have to start putting Lester under the microscope too. And
I saw that.
I've been very high on Lester, but that's what you do in coaching. You don't throw a guy under the bus when you don't give him a chance. And I'm not throwing him under the bus, but I'm just saying it's just something you got to watch. Is Lester as good at coaching quarterbacks as we hope he is? But.
Well, I mean, this is what we've had 6 quarterbacks play 14 games.
Yeah.
Under Lester, I mean, it's crazy to think about, but I'm not trying to make excuses, but show me the program that is going to have a successful passing game when you've trotted out 6 quarterbacks.
We had excuses yesterday, and good excuses. Gronowski had never run the Iowa offense until the last 4 weeks, right? Other excuse. Oh, he was Kirk and Gronowski just said he was ultra nervous the first quarter, and very jazzed up to try to be great and all this crap.
Well, he said something about him sitting around the whole day watching football on TV, and he just got jacked up over it.
Yeah, I don't know how many FCS games are played at night, but certainly not at night in front of 70,000.
But I'm just saying that if it continues for weeks, that you got to say, hey, Mr. Lester, and I'm not being critical of Lester. I'm just saying that he's on my watch list now. I don't think any other coach on the staff we can say isn't doing a good job, and I don't
Well,
think we can say Lester isn't doing a good job. I thought he was miraculous with Stratton last year, but anyway.
yeah. And then, if the old adage is true, that you see the most improvement from game 1 to game 2, let's see what happens.
That's what I said, let's see in, 4 or 5 weeks, how this is going. And
Yeah.
the other excuse, the third excuse was, Kirk said in the press conference, he said there was 3 plays, I think he said, where the receiver quit running. And
Quit running or
one slowed down or quit running.
yes.
They lost their focus, which everybody in a game loses your focus once in a while. Nobody's perfect, right? And one of those plays was, you remember the play where TJ Washington went out into the flat and Gronowski, a defensive back, is charging up on him, and instead of being fast and keeping going, he slows down like Gronowski's going to throw him the ball.
Right.
I think that was one of the stop plays, and Gronowski just heaves it over top of his head high, lobs it over his head, and everybody says,
that was the floater that went over the head.
Terrible pass by Gronowski. Well, maybe it wasn't. Maybe TJ didn't do what he's supposed to do. Get downfield, you got a touchdown.
Well, there was one that he threw in the ground in front of a player off to the angle there, and honestly, it looked to me like the receiver could have gotten to that ball if he'd have just charged it a little harder. He just, you know what I mean? He just stopped on it. He just kind of waited to see if the ball was going to get to him. And honestly, that ball was so close to him that if he just charged it a little bit and dives and scoops it up, he has a spectacular catch.
And I'm not making excuses for Gronowski. Like I said at the beginning, I thought he was bad. So.
He was bad. There's no difference. Okay, I want to talk about was it the 3 injuries or 4 injuries we had yesterday? What have you guys heard about their coming back? Let's start with Moulton.
I heard it was re-aggravated his shoulder.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it could be shorter or longer according to Kurt. George
so might
be out for
probably until tomorrow. Yeah.
George might be out for a long time. That was a freak injury. I would guess he probably tore a bicep muscle or a pectoral muscle or something, because he said
how do you do that in warm-ups?
Your arm gets grabbed, and
who are we talking about here?
George, the backup tackle guard to transfer. This is his last year. When he said it's a long-term deal, that's what I figured. It's like if you tear a bicep muscle in the NFL, your season's usually over with.
Yeah. Gotcha. And Reese Vanderzee, did he give an update on where they're at with him? I know it's kind of a fractured foot or something. Is he just out for a few weeks?
Kirk called it week to week, but everybody says it's at least a month.
Okay.
His foot hurt him in the meal lines.
Yeah. All right. And Jarrett Bowie, what about him? Have you heard anything on him? What's going on with him?
I have no clue. That's been pretty quiet.
Yeah. And Kirk kind of joked how he said how they were injury-free, pretty healthy going into the game, and on Tuesday, and literally that afternoon, they lose Vanderzee.
Yeah.
So, and the availability report wasn't right. When I seen there was only 2 guys missing, and I thought, I know that's not right, because I know Will Nolan, the big recruit offensive lineman, I think he's out for, I don't know if he'll be back at all this year.
Oh, wow.
But I think he had surgery, and everything. But they probably thought, we don't have to list him. Everybody knows about him. I don't know. By the way, Drew Campbell started practicing again.
Yes, that's good news. I thought Nolan quit football. I thought he quit for medical health reasons.
That's Brody Fox.
Okay, I got the wrong guy. Gosh darn it.
Nolan's a great football player. But my relatives told me Fox, they played him in high school and they thought he was, not a big guy that dominated, but they didn't think he was quite tough enough. But I don't know why he retired.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'll save the questions for the next show on what we have to do to beat Iowa State. I promise I wouldn't bring up Iowa State or anything about it tonight because I don't want to get into our next show. Guys, is there anything else you want to bring up on this game?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, not on the game. Just
But I know
the recruits that I mentioned to you before.
Yeah, you wanted to bring that up. I'm going to go ahead. Now would be the time.
Okay. I thought it was interesting. Hank Brown has a adopted brother, and he was at the game. I think he's a defensive end or something. Last name Brown, of course. And then, well, I suppose you could be adopted and not take a name. I don't know. Anyway, but Kent Call's boy, he was the fullback that after Lou Montgomery for Hayden. Kent Call come from Colorado, but his boy's from, I don't know if it's Cedar Falls, Cedar Rapids, or Iowa City. He's visited several times, and the thing that surprised me, I love On3. They do such a good job. They had pictures of all the recruits, and there's AJ Hodge from Iowa City West, obviously Coach Hodge, Abdul Hodge's boy, and that always makes me smile when legacies.
Yes.
come. I have no idea what year he is in school, and there's some other recruiting too, but it's like nobody'd know who they are. Quarterback from Dowling and trying to flip guys and stuff like that. Trying to get a Caleb Johnson to flip from Iowa, So the only other recruiting was the Iowa women.
Let's talk about
the
they had two at the school this weekend. Do you know anything about how that went? Anything?
The only name I know they had there was Velitsko, but Jan put out in a Twitter or Instagram or something. She said a great weekend in recruiting. This was on Saturday, and we thought, and then she goes, we had several top young guns in like that. So I don't know if it's underclassmen also came in. I don't know if also people can take unofficial visits, like Jenica Lewis could have said, hey, I'm going to take an unofficial, but I think maybe she was going someplace else this weekend, but I'm not sure. Bjorn could have showed up.
I heard Battle. Somebody named Battle.
Battle's coming in on her visit for the Albany game. Gigi Battle, she's one of the top guards in the country from New York, and that super duper new assistant coach Bassett.
Okay, so Battle, you said Battle's
her.
coming in for the Albany game, which was yesterday, so she was here then.
No, not the Albany, UMass.
Okay.
Yeah, I got that. I got written down here when they're visiting. Amelia Kristevsky from California, one of the big post player. She's visiting Arizona State, Iowa, Oregon, Oklahoma, and California. And she's coming in the 20th of October, maybe. That's about the same time that Jenica Lewis is visiting. Then, of course, Vienna Murray, the 6'1" guard from Minnesota. She's coming in the 20th of September. I don't know who we're playing the 20th of September. Penn State, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure.
20th of September?
Mm-hmm.
They're out of town. They're at Rutgers that weekend.
Oh, that's when she's visiting, is according to the might have been told that on On3. I'm not sure, but she's very, very tall guard from Minnesota.
I believe it's also a Sunday. No, it is a Saturday, but that is definitely Rutgers weekend because I'm in Iowa that weekend, so I had to see who they were playing that day.
And of course, we know we're in on Bjorn yet. So
Okay.
just a bunch of great players, and I told everybody 6 months ago. Everybody said, "Oh, Velitsko's going to Ohio State, and Velitsko's going to USC. Velitsko's going to go to South Carolina or UConn." And I said for 6 months, I said I was in the lead, I believe, and I'll stick to it till she breaks my heart.
There
Okay.
you go.
All righty. Well, in women's soccer, number 10 Hawkeyes over the weekend had a 0-0 draw at Loyola Chicago, but they did beat St. Louis at home today 3-0.
Mhm.
And their new girl, their hot shot freshman, scored. Liana Teresco.
Mhm.
Another freshman got the graduate student Kenzie Rowling added a score, and graduate student Kelly McQuarty. You know, sadly, I offered to bring some of these people on or any of the coaches onto my podcast, and University of Iowa shot me down like a bird flying with a broken wing.
Probably not during the season. So
Yeah,
If-
she said
I
maybe.
don't think you're going to get any Iowa football players on during the season either.
Well, here's the thing. Certain people can do it, but not me because I don't have the name that certain people have.
I don't know. I don't remember a lot of players being on podcasts in any sport during the actual regular season. I don't think coaches. I think they want them focused on practicing and playing, but maybe they have. I don't know.
Okay,
I
so I was gonna say the volleyball team is in Las Vegas at a tournament. I think they are 2-0. They beat Utah Tech, the Running Rebels of Las Vegas. Hawkeyes win the Rebel Challenge. They finished at 3-0 by beating a Cal State Bakersfield team Sunday. It says Sunday night, guys. It's not night here. They're in the same time zone we are. It's not night yet.
I think they beat them this morning, but
Okay, yeah. And
field
then
hockey team lost today.
Yeah. Sadly, when I go through to the women's sports, they don't list field hockey. So, it's listed with the men's.
I went Iowa athletic site. I posted the story about them losing to number 2 North Carolina.
Yeah.
I think 4-1 or something like that.
Yeah, they downed it, the Demon Deacons in the first season opener. Wake Forest 5-4, and then fall to North Carolina number 2. So not all in all bad start to their season. They still look like they're a team to be reckoned with.
I mean, Wake Forest was a rated team. Iowa last year was the first time in 18 years they didn't go to the NCAA tournament. I think they ended up being the 15th ranked team in the country, but the Big Ten dominates field hockey. We finished 9-9 last year because we played in the Big Ten, but we were still ranked like 15th, 16th, 17th, but
Okay.
what did there was something I wanted to. I don't know what it was.
While you're doing that, I wanted to address from a national perspective. I know we talked a lot of Hawkeyes, and of course, but LSU saved the SEC last night because if Clemson would have won that game, what would the national perception right now be talking about? Texas losing at Ohio State, Bama getting run over by FSU, and Clemson, had they won that game, but they didn't obviously. But that would have been 3 big hitters. The SEC, going, they still went 1-2 and came close to going 0-3.
Wouldn't it be nice to see the SEC finally taking it on the chin a few times?
Well,
Okay, guys, along that lines.
They took it on the chin the last 3 years. I mean,
yeah. Okay, along those same lines, who comes out number 1 this week?
Ohio
Ohio
State.
State, Penn State.
Ohio
They
State
beat
earned
number
it.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I would say Ohio State too.
But listen, boys, I am not going to criticize the SEC for their weekend
No.
because they played great team. That was playing against great teams. You know, I picked Texas. I picked Texas over Ohio State, and I thought they'd beat Ohio State, by 10 points or
By the
something.
way,
'Cause
guys,
I remember historically Ohio State always playing somebody in the shoe, non-conference, and losing. Remember Oklahoma going up there and beating them. And I remember when I was a kid, John Elway throwing a long pass to beat Woody Hayes. And Stanford was a bad team, but Woody just couldn't deal with modern offense. That was like. And then I remember Uwe Schaumann hitting like a 54-yard field goal to beat Woody Hayes. Too. So.
Paul and I had this figured out because
Give the SEC some kudos for playing those games.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, we're playing one next week. This week, we're playing a top 25 team, and they might be top 20 by the time this poll comes out.
Okay, but to be fair, playing at Trice Stadium is not quite the same as Death Valley or Doak Campbell or the Horseshoe, for that matter.
Yeah.
It's not, but many teams have gone to Trice Stadium and died. But fortunately for Iowa, they haven't died there since 2011.
There you go.
And we got Iowa does not have an easy schedule this year, so
No.
It's looking tough for all the time.
Everybody can put that in their pipe and smoke it. Michigan State looked so good over the weekend, and
they did. They did. I'm
good.
losing more confidence. However, we don't play UCLA, but I'm beginning to think, dang, I wish we had UCLA back. And of course, USC looked really good. I mean, but granted, they're playing Sisters of the Poor, but they did exactly what you expect a team like that to do.
Okay, I don't want to talk all the time, but I remembered what I wanted to bring up.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, the interview this week with our great star basketball player, Sturts.
Mm-hmm.
And I forwarded this interview to all the media and everything.
And I forwarded it to Chad Lysicle, in case you're wondering.
I didn't like my feedback from some of them. I said, Sturts says that during the season last year, when he started blowing up at Drake, that all these schools contacted his parents offering him illegal inducements to transfer. That was during the season. That wasn't when he was in the portal or nothing. And I go, well, I'm showing this to you guys. Can't you ask him, who? Or can they ask him if he's turning them into the NCAA? And the two guys that responded to me said, oh, everybody does it. It's like, that disappointed me.
Yeah,
I've been writing since the early 80s.
Yeah.
You can't say that you have lack of funds to do this. I spent way more funds writing like I did, because back then when I made phone calls, you had to pay for them. I'd talk to some recruiting guy in New Jersey and talk to him for an hour, and I'd get a bill for $50.
Yeah.
Now you have unlimited. You got emails, all this crap. Can't you just ask, hey, have you turned these teams into the NCAA? Have you? And can you tell us any information? That bothers me. That, it's fine. It's like when players get caught for gambling, and people say, oh, everybody gambles. But I guess I'm a stickler for rules.
It's what is now the type of media that we got going on. They do this is kind of like the throwback to the media back in the 60s and earlier, when the media knew things but didn't publicize it.
I don't know. I sure
Yeah.
took Nixon down. That was one of the proudest journalistic moments in American history.
Yes.
You know,
That's
and
when Watergate kind of broke that mold. The Watergate trial.
no, I thought journalists always dug, and I want to make this clear. I am not criticizing anybody that got back to me on that or anything, because if that's the way it is now, that's the way it is. But I just don't believe that's the way it should be.
Yeah. How many people in the 40s knew that Roosevelt was confined to a wheelchair?
Yeah.
The media all knew it, but they protected him. The media all knew about JFK and RFK's illicit affairs, but they kept it a secret. Now it's coming out because everybody who's involved is dead. So now you don't even know if it's true now.
Well, we know it's true because people testify to it, but but there are things that having an affair isn't really illegal, but
No,
there are things like this that are illegal.
Yeah, no.
But
there was a time when an affair would take down a presidential candidate and they'd have to get off.
Well, of course.
They'd have to check out. But now, as we know now, an affair doesn't hurt your candidacy. You can still get elected president.
Didn't Iowa get in trouble with tampering with McNamara?
That's what I was just going to say. The media, like, of course, Kirk turns himself in. Yeah, he answered the phone call.
Mm-hmm.
McNamara's interested in coming, so Kirk says, "Yeah, I answered it. I didn't know it was a day too early." It was a day too early, and he took a game off as penalty. Michigan fucking cheats every day for 2 years, including in Iowa games, and they complain because their coach is going to sit out two games or 3. And then Tyler Barnes sent Caden Proctor just a pick-me-up text, when he was playing bad as a freshman. He just said, "Keep your chin up. Keep your chin up." Supporting the kid.
But we didn't get in trouble for that.
Yes, we did. Tyler Barnes had to sit out a game.
He did?
Yes, he did.
Actually, at the game he sat out, I thought was the same one as
Tyler Barnes is on the staff. He's on the side. He was on the sidelines all day yesterday.
Well, no, but I'm saying
he had one game last year that he had to not go to the stadium 24 hours before the game, nor the day of the game.
I believe it was the same one as Kirk. Kirk for the Cade McNamara recruiting, because Tyler's the one that made initial contact and then handed the phone to Kirk.
You're wrong. It's John Bootmeyer had to sit out that game because he was the one that was friends with McNamara's coaches and McNamara. Tyler Barnes was a different game, but it's not like you're gonna miss Tyler Barnes during the game. He's
not really an in-game coach. He's not
he's a general manager.
General manager recruiter.
It's like yesterday. Every time if you've seen anybody with the recruits talking to him or our commitments, it was usually, that's Tyler Barnes there with them, But anyway.
All right, guys, I think we've kind of like beat a dead horse, and again we beat another dead horse. So I think one thing about going on Sunday night like this with our reaction is we're probably the last ones to give our reaction and our thoughts on there, and everybody's probably burned out on hearing everything they want to hear.
Well, Dean, it's better than beating a live horse.
Yeah,
because you get turned into the Humane Society or Audu.
And you wouldn't hesitate if I did that.
Well, I've slapped a few horses to make them mine, but I didn't abuse them. So.
Oh, and you are a happy horse owner, right?
Yep.
Okay, guys, it was fun. We're coming back either Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm working on that right now with the Hawkeyes. to see if I can work something out because I would rather stay on Wednesday. I just think Tuesday's too early. But hey, if it is, we'll go back to Tuesday. We'll do Tuesday. But right
Just
now,
remember, I always listen to Kirk. So
yeah.
Kirk's TV show is on Wednesdays, I think.
Yeah.
Because
Until
I want to hear anything he says.
well, I listened to his show this week and he had no breaking news.
Yeah, it's like Dolphin. I had some good. I sent in a good question. It's like
Did
he doesn't even pay attention. He asks for questions and then
he read
I
a
think
bunch of questions. He read a bunch of questions off from people.
I know, but I think he didn't off the Facebook post. I think he was reading from texts or from emails or something.
I thought he said he took one question from Facebook, but
I don't know. I asked. I wanted to know how good this Allgaier kid was. The great young offensive lineman that wasn't going to play this week. Just what do you see as his future, Coach? And I congratulated Coach on about ready to tie and then break the record of Woody's. But
yeah, let's hope he breaks the record this week.
Let's do that.
Jason's convinced it's going to happen. I'm going to go with Jason. Jason, I'm riding your coattails. I'm coming after you if they don't.
There we go.
All righty. Guys, it was good. Thank you for being on tonight. It was fun. Thank you guys for watching. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button, throw in some comments, and by all means, share it. Share it with everybody. So far, I've shared it with a few media people, and they haven't told me not to. They're probably ignoring it, but they haven't told me not to send it anymore. So that's good news.
Adios, amigos.
Bye, guys. Take
Bye.
care.
Good night.